Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today is August 14th, 2024. I'm your guy, Tom Coffey at Coffee and Nuance, and we are streaming live right now on X, on YouTube, and on Rumble, rumble.com/coffeenuance/live. Just bookmark it. Why not? And today I've got a big idea because it is Big Idea Wednesday. So, let's get to that. Looks like we got a couple people here, so let's do it because we are going to talk about an idea that you're not going to be able to read about anywhere because I just came up with it. I don't know. Perhaps someone else had this idea and they've named it something else, and I can't find it out there in the world, but I just decided to go for it. Anyway, let's get to it. It is the credibility paradox. Not sure why this camera looks so bad. This one looks good. This one looks bad. I don't know. I got to figure it out. I'll figure it out someday. But let's dive into something that's been on my mind. This thing I call the credibility paradox. You know how we all have that one friend? Let's just call him Greg. He's always so proud of himself because he only reads the New York Times, like he's some kind of intellectual superhero warding off evil forces of misinformation with his trusty subscription. Yeah, Greg, we get it. You don't watch Fox News because you're informed. But here's the thing, Greg. You're not just informed, you're misinformed. And you don't even know it. You're so busy patting yourself on the back for avoiding fake news that you don't realize you've walked into the most sophisticated propaganda trap ever invented. It's called credibility, and it's how they get you. Now think about it. If you're some shadowy government agency, or I don't know, like the deep state, where are you going to plant your propaganda? On some sketchy blog written by a guy who claims Bigfoot's running for Congress? No! You're going to slip it in the pages of the Times, the Washington Post, or better yet, have it delivered by those soothing, trustworthy voices over at NPR. Because if it comes from them, people like Greg will swallow it whole. It's like this. You know those organic, gluten-free, free-range, non-GMO snacks that cost $10 a bag? You think they're good because of all the fancy labels, but guess what? They're still just chips. And news from these credible sources is still just information dressed up in the illusion of objectivity. Here's the kicker, though. The more credible the source, the more likely you are to believe the crap they're feeding you. It's like how con men dress up in suits. They don't wear clown shoes when they're trying to scam you. They wear Armani. And credible news sources, they're the Armani of the information world. You think you're getting the truth, but you're actually getting sold a very expensive lie. Now, let's be real for a second. We all know Fox News is biased. We all know MSNBC has an agenda. And because we know it, we take them, say, with a grain of salt. It's like dealing with a used car salesman. You know he's trying to rip you off, so you're on guard. When you walk into a dealership with a no haggle sign, you think you're safe. Next thing you know, you're driving off the lot in a lemon that you overpaid for. So in a weird twist, those biased partisan sources might actually be better at giving you the real picture because at least you know they're trying to spin you. You watch Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow, you know exactly what you're getting. With the Times or CNN, you think you're getting the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. But you're not. You're getting their truth wrapped up in a nice bow of credibility. And that's the credibility paradox. The more you trust a source, the more likely you are to be fooled by it. It's like getting relationship advice from an influencer who's totally happy and also secretly gay. They're just better at hiding the truth. So, what do we do about this? Simple. Stop trusting everything you read just because it comes from a credible source. Read widely. Watch everything. Hell, read the National Enquirer if you have to. But seriously, compare different perspectives. dive into those fringe sources, the ones that make your blood boil. Because somewhere between the left and the right and the batshit crazy, there's the truth. And stop being so damn gullible. Next time Greg starts lecturing you about his morning routine with the New York Times and NPR, just smile and nod, then go home and fact check the hell out of it. Because the truth isn't hiding in any one place. It's scattered across the spectrum like a busted piñata at a kid's party. If you want to find it, you got to be willing to get a little dirty. So don't just trust the Armani suit. Sometimes the guy in the clown shoes has something really important to say. My name's Tom Coffey. This is the Coffee Nuance Show, the least watched, censored commentary and news show live right now. Flame on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I came up with a big idea, wrote this big thing, and I got a handful of people watching. What are you going to do, right? Anyway, if you're here, do me a favor, smash the like button. And in an alternate universe, I'll get 50 likes. I could just go for 50 views, but we'll get there. Anyway. So this is the idea I wanted to talk about, this credibility paradox. And the reason this came up, I have a friend, let's call him Greg, who actually was trying to find moderate news sites that were in the middle, that were least biased. And that was his idea of how to be the best informed. And it's a good thought. It really is a smart way to think about things. And it got me thinking a lot about this. He told me this a couple weeks ago. And he got me thinking about it. And that's where I realized that all of the sources that are the most trusted are the ones that lie the best. And I've just had this rolling around in my brain for a couple weeks. And I came up with this credibility paradox. And I believe it to be true. And because all of the super trustworthy sites, those are the ones that say, I don't know, the people running stuff, that's the ones that they're actually trying to influence. Because again, if Alex Jones says something, you know what you're getting with him. Okay? If you're on a Daily Kos or some left-wing blog or something, you know what you're getting there. You know the perspective that you're getting from them. But when it's something right in the middle, something that appears to have the most credibility, that's where you get screwed the most. So I contend that you need to seek a variety of sources, including those that are totally openly biased and partisan. And I think, in my opinion, it's a more effective way to get a well-rounded understanding of complex issues. So here's why this approach is beneficial, okay? You want to have a broader viewpoint spectrum. So partisan sources often provide insights and arguments that mainstream or supposedly unbiased sources might just totally overlook or downplay. And if you engage in a wide range of perspectives, you can better understand the motivations and concerns of all the different groups. You need to challenge your assumptions. So reading sources from different biases can challenge your own assumptions and force you to evaluate your own beliefs, which I know, kind of nutty idea, right? But this can lead you to a more nuanced understanding of the issues. And it really helps in recognizing bias. So if I identify bias in coverage, when you compare different outlets that cover the same story, you start to see the biases of each. And when you recognize the bias, it helps you understand how narratives are shaped and how information might be missing. So sure, you read the New York Times, and then maybe you see what they say on Zero Hedge or Breitbart, and then you go to a left-wing blog, Atrios, or Daily Kos, or something like that. And then you can kind of understand how these narratives are put together, and it's easier to then detect the bias of the mainstream. You get much better at detecting the BS if you look at a wide spectrum of things. Something that I've talked about often on this channel is understanding framing. So different sources, they frame the stories in ways that align with their ideological leanings. And so by seeing the same event reported differently, you can then be aware of how these news organizations, these people in the media are framing stories, and you get better at recognizing it. And then in the future, you can say, oh, they're framing it this way. Oh, I see the perspective, where you may not do that if you're only going to the Washington Post, right? So anyway, there's lots of other things that you can do this. When you try to find the middle ground, if you look at the left and the right, you may get some middle ground and actually have a better understanding of reality. And this is also true for domestic and international things. There are many things that the right and the left agree on, right? A lot of the, they're a lot real pro-war, right? Let's drop some bombs, those weapons of mass destruction. A lot of this, the left and the right totally agree on. One thing recently that I've seen that all the American media agree on is what happened in the Venezuelan election. Okay. So if you're only reading American news sources, you are going to come to the conclusion that the Venezuelan election was totally rigged and Maduro totally cheated. And that's what you would get. I don't buy that line. And I have looked outside of American media, and I've seen some different perspectives. So I've come to a different conclusion, but I wouldn't come to that conclusion if I were only looking at American media. So that's something else. You need to understand the extremes, okay? Even if you don't agree with an extreme viewpoint, knowing what the extreme viewpoint is can really be helpful, because then it can provide context for what a moderate position is, okay? And also, then you can anticipate, if this is something that you practice, you can anticipate what people will respond to, whether it's the right or the left or whatever it happens to be. And this is going to make you a more informed consumer of news, and also just how to understand the world a little bit better. And with this, you can build your own personal framework. You don't have to use the framework that the New York Times uses. You don't have to use the framework of NPR. You can set up your own framework for how you view news, how you view media, and how you view the world. So no single approach guarantees a complete and unbiased view. That's never going to happen. You need to seek out a variety of sources, including those that are totally openly biased, totally partisan. And that can help you navigate this credibility paradox more effectively. So you want to compare the different narratives, engage with the information presented, and then that approach, you acknowledge that all sources have bias, even those that don't appear to have a bias. They have one too. And instead of avoiding them, like, oh, they're biased, I'm going to avoid them, you can use that to your own advantage and help you see the full picture. So that is the big idea that I have come up with today. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. I'll be going through all your comments in the after show. I'm kind of pleased with this idea. I've never heard it put this way. I've yet to hear this named as anything. So the name I came up with was the credibility paradox. I guess it could be credibility trap, but I like the credibility paradox better. I don't know. It rang better for me. Played around with a lot of different ideas, and that was the name that I came up with. And because it's my video, I guess I can name it, right? But let me know what you think about this. And do you actually go to a variety of news sources? I did ask a friend of mine, this friend that I was talking about, I just asked, would you ever consider reading a Breitbart article? And he didn't reply. He ignored that that question. Um, it's interesting. It's very telling. It's very telling because a lot of times, if you go outside your bubble, you might find out that you're wrong, and that can be a little crushing to your ego. So I understand why people want to just put their blinders on, and not get outside their own little bubble, because then they don't have to deal with the reality that their news sources are biased. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thought on it. I will go through all your comments in the after show. Hope you all have a fantastic day. I will be back on Friday. Fact Check Friday. Till then, peace. Yes, here we are in the after show. What's up, everybody? Talking about the credibility paradox. What's up, John? Hashtag Rumble Gang. Bastille, nice to see you. Rev68, nice. Lucid made it too. Thank you, and thanks for liking my X post from my where I was holding my tiki drink. I went to a family reunion over the weekend. Went out to a tiki bar and posted a picture from there. Apothecary John, 50 likes, and I will throw a digital pizza party. So yes, one day, John will get 50 likes. We'll probably have to have 50 viewers first, but goals. Hashtag goals. So that's it. Lots of people saying hi. Lots checking in. Erie Fairy says, I love a pair of ducks. Okay. A pair of ducks, right? Like a paradox. That's good. I like that. I like to listen to things that challenge my worldview. Well, to do that, you just got to step outside of where you are and do this. And it's interesting because before I really gave this a lot of thought, actually before my friend, he was asking me, what do you think are the most moderate places to get your news? The most unbiased places to get your news. Before I really started thinking about that, I'd never considered the pros of going to a variety of sources. Now, I like going to a wide range of sources because I find it amusing, and I like to see the different perspectives. And so for whatever reason, I've never been opposed to that, but I don't think I'm normal. In fact, I know I'm not normal. I know I'm an outlier in those things. That's how you bolster your own argument or change your mind. That's true. Lucid says, I look at CNN and MSNBC to hear what the opposing viewpoints they have. It's really hard to watch most of the time. I have a real hard time with a lot of overtly biased stuff. But you do have to check it out. You do have to check it out. Now, one of the ironies is I think that a lot of people on the right are aware of what the left says because the left kind of runs all the media, right? So it's really difficult to not hear the arguments of the left in America because you just get them everywhere. But it's really easy to avoid the arguments of the right because all you have to do is go, oh, I'm only listening to CNN and MSNBC. I'm not going to listen to any of that biased right-wing stuff. So there is a bit of irony that often I think just because the way the system is set up, people on the right might actually have a better understanding of what's going on in the world or what's going on in politics than people on the left, because often people on the right kind of see both sides. People on the left don't. So that's one of the things that's happening. Late, but I made it. Hey, what's up, Natasha? Nice to see you. Hey, everybody. So that's the idea today. That was the idea I wanted to talk about. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I tell you what, I really do like doing this, especially these big ideas. Thinking about an idea, trying to come up with something original to say, to put out into the world. There's not a whole lot of that. In fact, if you know somebody that's, coming up with original ideas that are interesting, let me know, because I'm always looking for that. And I just wish that I could figure out a way to get a bigger audience with this kind of stuff, because I think it's interesting, fascinating. And I know that you do, because you tune in. But I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll be back on Friday. Hope you all have a good one. Till then, peace.